Hey everybody, this is Dave.
And I'm Jay.
And welcome back. We're here with another update about Jacksonopolis.
Tonight we'll be talking about Jacksonopolis, the name, and how we came about finding this name.
Yeah, when you name something, you really have to know what you're talking about. You have to understand what you're naming completely. So we did a lot of research into the history and everything that went into Jackson.
Very interesting things that we found at the district library about Jackson, and about its history, and about what it used to be, and the kind of vision that somebody at some point wanted to have for Jackson.
Like, even the name of Jackson itself wasn't always Jackson.
It changed.
It's changed over history. The original name of Jackson is what the website's called, Jacksonopolis. It was named that in 1830.
On your birthday.
On my birthday, July 30th, 1830. Yeah, a long time ago. I'm not that old, though. Not that old. I'm old, not that old.
Jacksonopolis has quite a few historical elements that made it Jacksonopolis in their origin. So the name Opolis actually has quite a bit of significance.
Right, that's right. It kind of comes from a couple different words, but it encompasses a whole region, not just the city itself. So when you think of a metropolis, the Jackson metropolis actually encompasses like 160,000 people.
160,000 people in the metropolitan area of Jackson.
Right.
That's a lot of reach.
Yeah, it is. And it's more than just the city itself. It's the city, it's all of the surrounding communities. An opolis or a metropolis is all the communities connected around a central hub.
Location.
Yeah, around the hub.
The hub.
A little bit of history about the word opolis. It comes from the Greek of anapolis, like city is what it really is. And there's a few criteria that involves this opolis idea. You have to kind of have these characteristics to be called an opolis or be an opolis.
Historically, during the ancient Greek times, an opolis had several elements, and part of those were very, very heavily inclined on the common cultural identity of a certain area and the kinds of things that this area was reaching out to and exposing into the world.
Right, it was really a social hub for everything that was going on, from financial marketplaces to urban planning to architecture, all that kind of stuff kind of just fit together in that area.
Including the public and private estates, all the farming area that happened around it, and really the city-state area that it really represented within the larger scale of the country.
Yeah, there were like health centers, like I guess the Greek spas and like the places for exercise, like the Greek dudes doing stuff.
There was a lot of theater, there was a very heavy inclination on influence for culture, arts, and really a centralized location for the political powers that encompassed that area. And it was quite interesting to read about how the opolis really represented a different space and environment for that area. And really, it feels like for us here in Jackson, that's exactly the kind of direction that we're wanting to take it. And we're really excited about moving forward to this ancient idea, but also a little bit more modern too.
Yeah, and the modern twist to it is kind of like a renewal of all of these kind of traditional things, the art, the culture, the community, kind of renewing that and giving it that traditional feel in a modern time, that retro modern, that post-modern.
Post-modern.
Yeah.
That's where we are now.
PPM. That's kind of weird.
What's cool about Jacksonopolis is that we've really tried to involve the community and the culture that's happening inside of the community, even down to the logo.
Yeah.
The logo represents obviously a J, which you can see how that's appropriate. But the logo also has a lot of meaning behind what we're trying to do with Jacksonopolis.com.
Yeah. So we put a lot of time, a lot of effort into giving that logo the solid identity. It's clean, it's simple, but it represents a lot of things like the J, and also it represents conversation. Conversation on the website, because it looks like a quotation mark. An end quote, is that what you call it?
An end quote.
You're the writer.
Yeah. No, it does. It represents an end quote, which is the structure for conversation, for quoting, for representation, and that's really what we want to have on the website: representation of voices, representation of the county and the city and the downtown area in a very, very high estate.
Yeah, a conversation. And also, one thing that went into the design of this logo, the lines and the shape and the overall aesthetic of it might seem a little familiar to people who've been around Jackson, specifically downtown Jackson. We based some of the line shapes and the overall structure on an art piece that's in downtown Jackson. It's kind of
very symbolic art piece.
Yeah, it's the Summer Night Tree. It's located right downtown, and it was one of those pieces that's kind of like a lightning rod for conversation in the city. A lot of people feel really strongly for it or really strongly against it, but we thought that was kind of, it was a really cool art piece that Jackson has, but it was also very symbolic for our city.
Absolutely, and one of the things that, in essence, art should do is provoke conversation, provoke thought, and provoke inspiration, and that's truly what that piece has done for us in branding the logo for Jacksonopolis.
Yep, and it was a clean design that we really loved. And a little bit about the art piece, to kind of draw that analogy out. It's controversial, there's a lot of talk around it. It was a really big historical investment from the community back when it was purchased, or when it was actually installed, or when they made the piece specifically for the area. They actually brought the artist out here. We'll have links to pictures of it on the blog, and some links to the history of the art. But it was kind of a big investment at the time, almost $500,000 in today's money to get that thing produced. And
it represents a lot of what that artist saw in Jackson as that structure was being put into place, as the structure was being designed, and it's really quite meaningful.
Yeah, and as that was appraised later on down the future, the artist got to be a bigger artist, and this is kind of one of the key art pieces of work from that artist. And the price tag of $2 million was put on this piece of artwork, and that kind of made people go crazy. They were like, "What is this? It's so expensive.
What should we do with it? What does it represent?"
Yeah, and it really caused that divide in the communities. A lot of people were saying, "This is scrap metal. It's a piece of junk. It's really just useless.
And an eyesore.
It's a waste. There's nothing good coming out of this," which is really kind of, when you think about it,
it's quite sad.
It's sad, and it's an analogy for how a lot of people look at the city.
The city itself, and as a whole in Jackson, the portrayal for Jackson to the communities around us, and some of the people within the community that see Jackson as something that it's not, and something with less potential and less value than it really has. And
just a piece of scrap metal is what a lot of people refer to it as.
An old industrial piece of scrap metal.
Yeah, that's overpriced and really useless for the community. But we think it's something different. We think it's a beautiful work of art that has a lot of potential, and is something that can really focus the community and really bring things forward and cause a lot of these conversations that we're looking to have on Jacksonopolis. So it was a perfect little analogy for where Jackson is at right now, and a good catalyst for the conversation. So when you look at that logo, think of how that thing represents the city and the different views in the city, and the J and the quote and the art and everything, the whole conversation in that one logo. It kind of blew my mind.
And it's quite inspirational for us, and it's quite a conversation starter. So we're just really, really proud. We're really, really proud of the community that's been taking in this idea, taking in all the conversation that's been happening. We're really, really glad that there's been a lot of community and business support. We just want to thank everyone that's been reading the blog and watching the videos and getting involved in this. And keep watching. We're going to have a lot more information coming up. We'll have a lot more of the story behind Jacksonopolis, behind Dave and I, and the kinds of things that we're wanting and waiting and anticipating to happen inside of Jacksonopolis. And
yeah, and
we're just really excited.
We're starting to get content producers into the website, so we're populating content, writing stories, making videos, taking photos, and we're building that content so that when we bring it open to the public, we'll have tons of stuff in there for you to look at.
You'll be able to poke around, see, do everything, contribute, and we're just really excited about it. And we want everyone and anyone that has ideas and that has a sense of belonging and worth in Jackson to come on along with us. Email us at info@jacksonopolis.com. We still have a lot of space to fill content and to fill some things in, and we just want to get in touch with the community and get in touch with you guys that are out there, and strike up conversations, strike up anything that's going to be positive in Jackson. So if you have those stories, we invite you to send them in.
We're building it right now. Come join us.